UAP are airborne objects that, when encountered, cannot be immediately identified. With regard to the importance of transparency, the Department is fully committed to the principle of openness and accountability to the American people.
They're all going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots from the west. Oh my gosh, dude.
U.S. Navy personnel recorded what appears to be triangles, some flashing. The video was taken through night vision goggles with a single lens reflex camera.
Well, I would say, it's a pretty high-profile incident. I don't claim to be an expert. You're the guys investigating it. I mean, who else is doing it?
There's a whole fleet of them. Look on the ASA.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. This is February 24th. I hope you're having a great evening. Before I begin the show, as I always do, this is dedicated to those who have been ridiculed, made fun of, and dragged through the media for the last 76 plus years. In the first segment, we're going to have a total of 14 photos to show you, and I'm getting into the Mesoamerican area, so bear with me. I'm not an archaeologist or an anthropologist, but I try my best to convey what I believe is a significant understanding of the Mesoamerican society. So let's start with the first photo. And what you're seeing here is the Pyramid of the Sun in what in the past, before it became Mexico, is the Mesoamerican pyramids. And I know that there have been millions and millions upon Americans who have visited Mexico just to go to these sites. On one end, you got the Pyramid of the Sun, and the other side, you got the Pyramid of the Moon. These pyramids are magnificent in their own right. If you look at the pyramids of Giza, especially the Great Pyramid of Giza, there is some similarities. So let's go through them as I show you the photos. Next photo. Now, a lot of these pyramids, the photos I'm going to be showing you are extremely similar, and but there are some differences in them. But I won't go into the detail. But the pyramids of Giza, the perimeter was 3,023 feet. The Pyramid of the Sun is 2,932. A difference of just 91 feet. Is that a coincidence? It's pretty close. Now, over time, we're talking thousands of years of erosion. It could be even a tighter number than that. Next photo. As you can see, the people walking around, these pyramids are gigantic, just like the ones in Egypt. For the exception of these pyramids are a lot newer than the ones in Egypt. And that makes for a interesting thought itself, because a lot of people don't know that there is some similarities in the technology going on these, having to do with these pyramids. Next photo. As you can see, obviously an artist's rendition of what it may have looked like back at that time when it was cleaned up. You can see little specks of people walking around. Giant complex. Next photo. And in the thought process when I was going through this, I kept wondering why the pyramids had a lot of steps to them. And there's a lot that goes into the pyramids, not just the making of them, but there's the reason for everything that the ancient people were doing. And that's so important to look at. Next photo. A lot of steps. There are step pyramids in Egypt, but as you can see, the step pyramids of Egypt, they're crumbling and falling apart. And the reason being is because they weren't built like the Great Pyramid of Giza. They're a lot different. Next photo. Here, sharp corners, and you got people climbing these stairs on just about all the monuments out there. Next photo. They get a average it varies, but because so many people come in and out, there is not a real concrete number of people going there, but I believe it's in the millions per year. And you can contact if you are interested in seeing these pyramids for yourself. There are some travel guides. I didn't get any information on those travel guides, but they are out there. Next photo. As you can see, there's a lot of grass and then just gravel out there. There are pathways to get to. Next photo. This one here was a little grainy. I couldn't do anything with it, but I wanted, it's one of the close-up ones that I had. There are people walking in the center, but if you keep looking at it, you get kind of dizzy. Next photo. And a far view of it. So what we're talking about here is an ancient monument, and just to let you know, the pyramid of Giza was built 4,600 years ago, and the pyramid of the Sun was built 1,824 years ago. That's a difference in 2,776 years. Gives you a rough idea. But it's so important to understand that the Pyramid of the Sun has almost the same diameter as the Great Pyramid of Giza, except it's half its height, which is interesting. And there are some mathematical calculations that professors use when they're talking about these pyramids. I won't go into them because they're quite lengthy, and I'm just not ready to get into that. But I wanted to let you know that there's discoveries all the time. Now, just last month, they found a Mayan warrior wearing a serpent on his head. This is an archaeologist who was working down in the lower areas of the pyramids. There's not a lot of information on it right now. It just happened last month, and in science, it takes a long time sometimes for information to get out. And I'm going to be keeping my eye on it just to make sure that if there's an update, I'll bring it to you, because it's according to this archaeologist, it's very significant. I don't know who the warrior is, but I understand that he was a significant person back when he was alive. They're not saying if he was a chief or a warrior. Next photo. A lot of green there. Depends on when you're there in Mexico to see these pyramids. But for the most part, you'll see a lot of greenery there, trees. And as I'm closing up on this, I want to get into the ancient alien theory, if you want to call it. I don't usually talk about the ancient alien theories, but I thought this was extremely significant. So let's go on to the next photo. And what you're seeing here is to the left of the screen is basically a drawing of what this site looks like. And here's the interesting part. Now, there's some controversy over this, but whether or not you're a conspiracy theorist or not, I follow that rule myself. I look into something before I become a conspiratorial person, and I won't come out and say, oh, they're full of baloney or this or that. You know, there is something to this. Take a look at this little map on the left. I'm gonna on the next one, I'm gonna blow it up, but I want you to see what we're looking at. This is an area view to the right of your screen, and it shows you what this complex, how long it is. So let's go to the next photo. This is what they're saying that it looked like, a grid. Whether it be a computer grid, anything that powers something, computer. So Mikey, we're going to go back and forth. We have one more photo. This one here. Okay, so take a look at this for a minute. And it does resemble a circuit board. Now, it's not just my beliefs. This is the belief of a lot of people. Now, when this was taken to an electrical engineer, and they didn't show him the green one I showed you, they showed him this one here, okay? And he looked at it and he said, yeah, it's a grid, so what? And he says, no, it's not a grid. It's actual a drawing of Teotihuacan in Mexico. And he took another look at it, and he didn't say anything. This is an old story. It's not a new story. But let's go back. Can we go back real quick? See this? It's got a grid to it. Now, I could have gotten a longer circuit board. There was several, but I kind of ran out of time. I was up until 3 in the morning finishing up on this. But that is the theory behind all of this. And it's been an argument for such a long time. Whether or not is electrical, it was set up, the pyramids were set up for electrical network somehow or some way. We don't know. Now, the Great Pyramid of Giza, they're claiming that that used to be a hydrogen power plant. So why can't this be an electrical grid plant? Who knows? Now, here's the interesting part about this, in closing. They found a lot of mica inside the pyramids. Now, mica is an excellent choice for wire and cable insulation, but it's not a good conductor. But I thought that was so interesting when I first was studying this. And I have to tell you that Mesoamerican people, they were incredible. The Egyptian people, I still say they're incredible, but there are some similarities in both these cultures. And if you have your thoughts, let us know at UFOWeWantToKnow@gmail.com. I'd be more than happy to answer your questions. Thank you, and stay tuned for the second segment.
Hi, I'm Joseph, the host and creator of UFO We Want to Know. Tune in every Saturday evening on KPVM Pahrump Channel 25.1 from 7 p.m. You'll see never-before-viewed videos and photos taken by myself, all over the world.
Thank you for watching. UFO We Want to Know, and remember, yes, they are out there.
Thank you for staying with us. We have 2 videos and 17 photos for this session, so let's start with the videos. And what you're seeing here, of course, is a UFO. This is an object. It's in our atmosphere. And I want you to take a look at this UFO here. And the reason why we're gonna go ahead and show this a couple of times. We're gonna run it through. And the reason why is because this UFO, believe it or not, changed shapes 3 different times. You see it take off? Now here's the interesting part. When it was stable, just like it is here, it was stationary, I took a stop motion. When it started to go up and make a left turn, I stopped it. I took a picture there. And then when it started to zoom off to the atmosphere to the upper left, I took a stop motion there. So after this one, we're going to go to the first photo, and I'll let you take a look and see what we got when it was stationary. Okay, so that's what it looked like when it was stationary. Next photo. A little bit bigger, and then the next photo, larger. That's what it looked like when it was stationary. Now, when I conclude all 3 of the different views, I'm going to show you what they look like all together. Okay, so let's go to the next photo. And this is when it was at the top, when it started to make its left turn, but it hadn't made the turn yet. Next photo. Isn't it funny? The white part is the one that's the leading edge, not the top, not the back. Next photo. As you can see what I'm talking about here. It's almost like you remember our Apollo program when the Apollo capsule would come down with parachutes. The leading part here was the part that was coming down to Earth. So it's kind of ironic that we see these pictures today, and that's not a Apollo module. It's a UFO. Next photo. So that's what you were looking at when it started to make the turn. Let's go to the next photo. Now, this is when it was taken off at an incredible speed, as you saw in the video. Excuse me. Next photo. A little larger one. And the next photo. Getting longer, isn't it? And next photo. Now, as you can see, it's not going from right to left. It does need aerodynamics. As I've said 100 times before, it's not touching our atmosphere. This object is in our atmosphere and it's moving at a tremendous speed. Never mind what the government says, because they don't know what they're talking about. I'm telling you, Joseph tells you what's going on with these UFOs. The government is not. Okay, they can play with our money and do anything they want with it. They're good at that. But I'm telling you the truth. That's what it looked like. So let's go to the last photo. As you can see, top left is the first one, bottom one, second one, and of course the elongated one. But that's the same craft, ladies and gentlemen. It's the same craft. So for those scientists out there at NASA who stand around looking at their PhDs on the wall, this is for you. This is a UFO that changed its shape. And you can say anything you want about what I'm showing, but this is concrete evidence. Now they can come to you and say, well, he's not a scientist. He's taking pictures with his cell phone. Blah, blah, blah. They can say all they want. All right, we all get a good laugh once in a while. If it makes them happy, that's great. I love it. I want them to be happy because they're being told what to say on television. I'm standing short of using words that I prefer not to use on television, not cuss words, just the way I think. When you got a person who is in the government field, they're being paid by the government, taxpayers' dollars, and they lie directly to the American people with our taxpayer dollars paying their checks. When they're driving their Mercedes and living in their big homes, their 5,000 square foot homes, and they're enjoying life with our taxpayers' dollar, and then they lie to us flat on TV, that really gets my goat, because I've never been in trouble with the law myself. I've always tried to be honest. I've never ever tried to lie to a person, unless unless it was something dire that it put me in a position where maybe I had to stretch the truth. But I never cheated people like these people do. They're cheating us. We're taxpayers. They're cheating us, and that's unforgiving. And until the government gets their head out of the you-know-what, they have to tell the people the truth. Sooner or later, one of these craft are going to come down in a populated area. What are they going to do? Are they going to tell everybody what you saw was one of our rocket ships? Obviously, it's going to be impossible for them to say that when you actually see a UFO with an electromagnetic field around it, giving off a fantastic charge that could probably light up New York City itself. These are extremely powerful vehicles that these planetary aliens are coming into our atmosphere with. They're not just UFOs that can go into our atmosphere. They can go into outer space. And with that, you know that there is a mothership out there, because I don't believe a lot of these vehicles are UFOs. A lot of them are probes, and I've shown that on previous videos. These are flying saucers that can change shape. There's a mothership somewhere out there in outer space, I would have to guess, most likely on the other side of the moon, to try to keep some kind of cloaking device so that our prying eyes can't see them. But you know that that's where they're coming from. Now, a few months back, I was videotaping the moon, and I saw all these things fly in front of the moon. A very bright moon that day. It was a full moon, and I didn't capture them. I kept looking at them. I said, well, those are birds. But they were not birds, because a few weeks later on television, this German filmmaker actually caught these same objects crossing the moon. And I didn't videotape them because I thought they were birds. That was my mistake. I won't make that mistake again. So whenever there's a full moon, you can be sure I'm going to be out there to see it. So let's go to the next video. Okay. So what you're seeing here, of course, is the sun. And what I have here is just an object that I thought was so important to videotape. Now, I could have darkened this so you could see it, but you really have to take a look at that object. When the arrow comes up, you'll be able to spot it. And the reason why I thought this was important to show you is because of what came out of it. When I first saw it, okay, it was a flash. And when we finish with this, showing the photos, I'm going to show you how I look at it and how I view it and how I catch these things. And it's so important for you to know that a lot of these UFOs, they have detail to them, but we can't see them. And the reason why is because they're so far away. But if you find a magnifier, like I have found, and you look into it, and they're simple jeweler's magnifiers, you can actually see what I'm saying. And this is when you're doing the video. You stop motion it and take a look at it. So after this loop here, we'll go ahead and go to the first picture. See if you can catch it. Okay. Now, this one here actually did a loop, but that's the UFO right there. And again, the reason why it was so important for me to show you this one is because I'm going to show you at the end. There's 4 photos in front of this one. Next one. That's what it looked like. Now, as we zero in, you're going to see what I'm talking about. So let's go to the next one. You're starting to see detail, aren't you? And here, you know what's so important about this? When I was looking at the stop motion and I was looking through my times 40 magnifier, and that's what it was, a times 40. And what I found is that there was a UFO shape to this, unlike other ones that I've taken. Next photo. And this is what it looks like. It looks like it has a dome on top of it. So to me, this one here, it looked like it was a spacecraft. And here's the interesting part. This craft came closer to me. It wasn't really far into the sun like other ones I've shown you. Like you can just show a white streak. This one here was closer to the Earth than the other ones. Now, it may not have looked like it on the video, but it was. If you look closely, in the center of it, on top, it looks like there's a dome on it. And this craft was probably pretty large going through our atmosphere. What do you think at UFO We Want to Know? This is the last, right, Mikey? This is it. Okay. I'm sorry, I lost track here. As you can see, this is about as close as I'm going to get with it, but there's the dome on top. This was a craft going through our atmosphere. What do you think this is, ladies and gentlemen? Please write me at UFOWeWantToKnow@gmail.com. Now, this is the type of magnifier that I use. It's the same one that jewelers use. and it's a times 40. And with this, you can see an awful lot. You don't need glasses when you have something like this. They're not very expensive, $10, $20, depending on which ones you want to get. They even come with a light on it. So, but they're great magnifiers to use to find these objects, not just jewelry. I found that when I use it, I think I get more detail, and I'm able to use my software to sharpen up images. We'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Joseph, the host and creator of UFO We Want to Know. Tune in every Saturday evening on KPVM Pahrump channel 25.1 from 7 p.m. You'll see never-before-viewed videos and photos taken by myself, all over the world.
Thank you for watching. UFO, we want to know and remember, yes, they are out there.
Thank you for staying with us. We have 2 videos and 18 photos to show you. So let's start off with the video. And what you're seeing here, we're going to have an arrow pop up in a few. You'll notice that there is a dark UFO in the upper left. At the end of the video, you have a light video or a white video coming down from the upper left down to it. And it looks like they were going to collide. Unfortunately, my timing was off. You never know when this is going to happen. This wasn't taken in slow motion. It was not taken in super slow motion. That's the difference. But as you can see, that black dot right there, that's a UFO. And then you have a white one at the end of it coming down, and it looks like it was going to link up with it. Here's the interesting part. The darker UFO was rotating. And again, with the before the commercial break, I showed you the magnifier I used. I can actually see the dark object rotating. It was actually going around in a circle, and it made a kind of a motion to the right, down right. I would say right to and down. And what it was doing, I don't know. But it made a motion. This wasn't a round craft, but in one picture, it was smooth like a rock. And then the other one, it had kind of an edge to it. So I'll show you the dark one twice. I took 2 pictures of it while it was rotating. The first one was when it was kind of stabilized. And then it started to rotate immediately after that. And then near the end, before the white object came, it started to slow down, I guess, or stop rotating. And again, the lighter UFO coming down seemed to be coming into view, and it looked like it was going to hit it. Unfortunately, had I waited, say, 1 second long before I started my video, I would have caught where that whiter UFO was going. So after this loop, let's go ahead and go to the first photo. It takes a while. Even though it was in slow motion, it's not as tight as a super slow motion. You can see from this photo here, the 2 UFOs. The lighter one on top, darker one on the bottom. And so I'm going to show you the darker one. Next photo. There it is right there. And as you can see, it's illuminating a cold area around it. Remember, I've said this 100 times. The center is the density or heat, and outer of it, the outer part is, the white part is cold. Sometimes you'll see a light blue or a greenish. That may be some kind of plasma. Next photo. Closer view of it. Now here's the part I was talking about. When it started to rotate, you see that little lip it's got pointing left down. That was unusual because that's not what I saw in the very, very beginning. When it started to rotate, it started to leave a little bit of an arm out there, if you will. Next photo. Larger view of it. And again, you can see cold air around it. I'm not talking about the purplish blue there. I'm talking about around it. You can see it's lighter than the surrounding area. Next photo. That's the final one of it. And as you can see, can you see the lines around it, the purplish area? I use my magnifier here to get better detail. I can, when I do it without it, and I just use my glasses, I get kind of a fuzzy area. But look how sharp I got this, the surrounding area of it. Really sharp. Gives you some lines. That's an interesting note for me. Next photo. And this is the two objects again. And the reason why I did this, I brought this up, because I want to remind you that there are two UFOs on there. And this is when the object was starting to stand still. So let's show them. This is the dark one we're showing. Okay, there it is. Now, it looks more like a ball. Now, remember, this is the same UFO that I showed the first 4 photos. This is it. Next photo. Bigger view. See, where did that arm go? Because it's rotating, it's gone. Next photo. And that's the blow-up of it. But isn't that different from the other one? I surely thought it was. And next photo. Going back to this double, showing the double UFO. And now we're going to concentrate on the white UFO coming down. So let's go to the next photo. And there it is. Not a lot of significance about this UFO. I didn't find a lot into it because it was traveling so fast. Now, this was taken again in slow motion, not super slow motion, slow motion. And when you do that, they're moving really fast and you have to slow it down. But when you slow it down, sometimes you will get distortion. Even in the studio, even with their equipment, you will get distortion. There's nothing I can do about it. I know there's some software out there, but they run in the thousands. And from what I'm showing you, I think I conveyed the message that I need to convey to you for you to understand what I'm trying to say. Next photo. Close-up of it. And the last one. I believe it's the last one. Ladies and gentlemen, these are UFOs flying in our atmosphere. So we got one more, and this is it here. And I want you to understand something. On the other ones, when I took the darker ones, they didn't show this fuzz. And that's the difference between a UFO that is illuminated in the sun's array than a dark one. Now, maybe the dark one, maybe it was painted a black, or it was formed black, and it didn't give off any shimmer. But you can actually see them a lot better than you can the lighter ones going through the atmosphere, because the sun's ray is so bright that when it hits these UFOs, it just illuminates them. Let's go on to the next video. And what we're going to be showing you here is, in 13 seconds, I had a UFO, and it goes from right to left over the sun. And then at 29 seconds, we have one coming down underneath the sun, below the sun's view. And I thought that was quite interesting, but I only concentrated on one, and that's the one that was coming down. And we'll loop this a few times for you to see it, because there is 2 UFOs here, and they were flying around quite a bit. This was taken at 1:05 in the afternoon, so basically near the high noon. Some of these videos, you'll notice that what I do is I will darken them, because a lot of viewers have told me that when you show them, the sun's in kind of like an irritation. So I do lower them. But on this one here, I couldn't do it because these 2 UFOs were light, and they were quite small. What I did was I took a stop motion only on one of them, because they were flying so fast, and these were in super slow motion. Super slow motion. And look how fast they were flying. They were zipping on by. Again, I always guesstimate how fast they were going. I'm not a professional at that, but I got to tell you, I'm kind of trying to bring in the scientists to call me a liar and say, no way that they were going that fast. Okay, so you tell me how fast they were going. Shut me up. Put your money where your mouth is. If you don't get in contact with UFO we want to know, and if you don't find any interest in this, then stay silent. I know what I'm seeing, and when I show the customer or the people what is flying around in our atmosphere, even though there's a denial in our Congress, I have to keep doing this because it's the only way for people like myself, ufologists, who know what is out there. And sometimes when I'm walking around, I look at people as I'm passing by and I said, only if these people knew what was over their heads, would they be frightened or would they be amazed? Would they be captivated enough to be able to do what I'm doing? And I believe that they would. It doesn't take much to put together a video or a photograph session, nothing at all. But the government certainly doesn't want you to do it because it's against their narrative. So let's go after this loop, let's go to the first photo. So interesting to see when you see the UFOs going through the sun's aurora there, how they get picked up. Because if you look at this photo here, the circle is where I caught this UFO. It was stationary. But this was coming from upper right down to your left. And if you look at the upper right, how dark it is up there, the UFO came from that area. But I couldn't see it until it hit that aurora right there. And that's the interesting part about ufology, is that you learn as you're going on. And, you know, if I do this for 20 years, I'm going to be able to bring you facts that are indisputable, even though maybe in 20 years the government, if they're not lying to us then, they'll say, well, he was right back then. Next photo. And this is what it looked like without the circle, of course. Next photo. Again, this was coming from upper right down to lower left. And it had a center to it. And I believe this next one's the last one. And it had a core to it. You got the dark area, which is density. It had several rings around it. And what those rings are, we can only guess. I'm assuming it's plasma, electromagnetic charge, anti-gravity. But these are flying in our atmosphere, ladies and gentlemen. Believe it, they are flying in our atmosphere. And don't let any governmental agency tell you they're not. NASA scientists are still sticking to the guns. There's nothing to see here. It's a nothing burger. I wish they would stop lying to us. But I don't think I'm going to change their mind. Please stay with me for the last segment. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Joseph, the host and creator of UFO We Want to Know. Tune in every Saturday evening on KPVM Pahrump Channel 25.1 from 7 p.m. You'll see never-before-viewed videos and photos taken by myself, all over the world.
Thank you for watching. UFO We Want to Know and remember, yes, they are out there.
Thank you for staying with us. And we have 2 videos and 13 photos to show you for the last session here. I hope you enjoy these two. These 2 videos right here, I thought they were quite important, as I do all mine, but I always leave the 2 kind of harder videos for the end, because I show very little, but I show an understanding of what's happening with these UFOs and what they're doing. So let's go on to the first video. And what you're going to see is a arrow and a UFO flying in that particular area. Now, this particular UFO was stationary for a moment, and then as it started to drop down, it was pulsating. This UFO was going in and out, all the way down. It was pulsating. You can see it for yourself. Now, when you use the magnifier in doing it, you can really actually see it. It looks like there's blinking lights blinking at you. And I thought this was most interesting. And I have 4 photos of this, actually 5, but one was circled. But the 4 photos, and as we started to get closer to it, you're going to actually see the end photo. You're going to actually see what I believe is it. I caught it when it just came on, the shimmering light, and that's the reason why I got the last picture like that. So let's go on after this loop to the first photo. Okay, we got it circled there. And I stayed with this one here because I thought it was so important because it gave a really bright flash, and that's why I stopped motion this particular little view of it. Okay, next photo. And that's what it looked like, a little teardrop, if you will. Next photo. Coming down. Now, I started here to use the software, and as I noted in the beginning of this video, I actually darkened this video because this was taken at 12:10 in the afternoon, and it was extremely bright. It was giving off quite an aurora, and it's very, very hard to see. But when you darken it, you're not changing the UFO. A lot of critics say that, well, you're distorting it. Well, no, it's not, because if I was to take a picture of it with the sun in its full ray, you'll be able to see the UFO, but you won't be able to capture it. Remember, we're human beings, and our eyes can only see so much. And I don't want people to look at what I show them and say, well, you know, I just see a teardrop, or I just see a white light. That's a UFO. It's in our atmosphere. Something that the scientists are saying it's not. Next photo. Close up of it. And you're starting to see not dead center, but just the left of the center, the center part of it. But on the last photo of this, and we can show that now, take a look at the brilliance of this. This is when it was flashing, and that's how I caught it. And I thought that was so important for you to see, because a lot of the UFOs that I get, it's just a white or an orange glow in the center. But this one here, you know, eggshell cracking, whatever you want to call it. But this gives you an idea. This is an object in our atmosphere. Let me say that again. This is an object in our atmosphere. No question about it. You saw it moving in the video. It wasn't a lens flare. I showed you last week what the lens flares were, you know, where they're located. And I get them every time I take a video or a photo of the sun. This object was moving in our atmosphere. I can't say that enough, because just 4 days ago, I believe it was 4 days ago, NASA put out one of their little notes that they sent out. I get them. I told you I get them all the time, and I read them. And they were talking about probes. And they were saying these probes, they seem to be stationary. They don't move that fast. So this can't be a probe, according to them. Now, whether it is or not, I don't know. I wasn't aboard the craft. But I can say this. This is an object. It is in our atmosphere, and it's undeniable. They can say whatever they want. NASA scientists, SETI, all those people, they're good for lying, because they just want the taxpayer dollars to build another array, some kind of a microwave antenna or a radio antenna, whatever they're looking to build to their next budget. All they care about is the almighty dollar, and that comes from the taxpayers. That's you, and that shouldn't happen. So let's go on to the next video. Now on this one here, I took some stop motions on it, but this was really important because this UFO you're going to see, it's going to go through the sun's ray, right through near the center of the sun, from right to left. And it actually exits, if you keep an eye on it, you have to stare at it from the right when you see the arrow, it comes out the other side. And what I did was I took a stop motion on both sides. And I want you to see what I captured, because I thought that was so interesting. This is definitely a craft, and this craft was giving out a very, very powerful charge. In it, if I had better imaging software, I think I could have caught a craft, a metal craft going through the sun's view. I'm talking to you honestly. I believe I could have caught that. Now, as I've said before, if there's somebody out there who has great imaging software and they want to capture the raw data, I'll be more than happy to give it to them, because I know what I'm seeing here is a UFO. Even if NASA, SETI, I don't care who they are, they want to see this data, they want it in their hands, raw data. I'll give it to them, and they can check for themselves. But this was a metal craft going through the dead center of the sun's view. Remember, it is not going into the sun, it is in our atmosphere. I can't say that enough. It's in our atmosphere. So after this loop, we'll go to the first photo. And there's where it went in. Next photo. A larger view of it. That was the craft that was going in it. Now what I did from here, this point here, I zeroed in on this particular craft, trying to leave the sun out of the photo. And let's see what kind of a job I did. That was what was going through there. You see, ladies and gentlemen, that is a metal object of some type. This is what you were seeing going through the sun's area. Next photo, close-up of it. This is the point I was trying to get to you. If I had better imaging software, I think I could have got a lot more detail at it. This craft was emitting electromagnetic charge. You see the top part of it? That's the craft. The bottom gray and then the white on the bottom, that is I believe that is the charge. I think that's plasma, and then it's giving off electromagnetic charge. These craft have an ability to discharge such a large corona that our best cameras, and again I'm using a cell phone, but our HD high definition cameras, they're still not going to be able to pick up a crisp picture. I don't care what they tell you, they're not going to be able to do it because of the fantastic electrical charge that these craft are emitting. So let's go to when the next photo, when the object exited the sun. That's that photo there. Okay, so let's go to the first picture. Now you're going to notice that it's giving off a really flashy charge on the bottom of the craft as we get closer and closer to it. And I think what's really helping it is the sun's aurora out there, because it's so bright, and I think it probably helps seeing it a lot more. But you have to know that if you look at this photo by itself, and I'm not even blowing it up from this point on, you can see this is in our atmosphere. This is not out there with the sun. Next photo, a larger view of it. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a UFO flying. It's a it's a metal object, and it's discharging a white flash on the bottom. I don't believe that's the UFO on the bottom. I believe it's the one on the top, and it's emitting it. I mean, that's whether or not you want to argue the point, that's my belief. What do you think? I got one more photo to show you, but what do you think? I can talk and talk and talk, but by capturing these is so fantastic. Let's go to the last photo. And it was the largest view I made of it before it starts getting all distorted. But that right there is a silver metal craft, ladies and gentlemen. It is a metal craft, and it's giving off an electrical charge. There's no question about it. I talked to a friend of mine, and he said the bottom one could be another craft because it's got kind of an area inside of that white aurora in the bottom. But I don't believe it is. I believe that what you're seeing there is the craft on the top, and it's emitting it from the bottom. Whether or not this craft was a mothership, because it was quite large. If you look at it, this was a large ship. Now, this was taken in slow motion. It was taken about 1:15 in the afternoon just a few days ago. And again, I've had people talk to me and ask me, how do you get so many UFOs? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm out there probably 10 to 15 hours a day at chance taking these videos and photos. I'm out there, I'm looking, and I'll keep doing that, and I'll keep bringing them to you. But I'm getting these every single day. Let me say that again. I'm getting these every single day. NASA, are you listening? I get these every single day. I'm in Pahrump, Nevada, and we don't have a lot out here. So if you think that, well, the aliens, why are they looking at Pahrump? It's not that. They're flying around. Wherever I go, I get these objects wherever I go. I hope you continue on watching my show, and stay tuned for my new commercial coming up. Thank you for watching.
Hi, I'm Joseph, the host and creator of UFO We Want to Know. Tune in every Saturday evening on KPVM Pahrump channel 25.1 from 7 p.m. You'll see never-before-viewed videos and photos taken by myself, all over the world.
Thank you for watching. UFO, we want to know and remember, yes, they are out there.